Updated. Am I the a-hole for telling my father that I don't care how nice his new girlfriend is? She'll never be welcomed at my home? Original post. My 33 female father, 60s, can't keep a girlfriend for long. My mom divorced him when I was a child, and since then, he's had no interest in remarrying or settling down. Today, his relationships don't tend to last much longer than a year. I'm married with 2 kids, 8 male and 4 female, because I don't want them to get attached to a new step-grandma every few months. I laid some ground rules when my son was born. My father wasn't allowed to introduce any new girlfriends to them until 6 months into the relationship. For most of my kids' lives, we had no problems with that. Then came my father's new girlfriend from 2022, who was an absolute nightmare of a person. My kids met her only once, but it was enough for me to consider her unsafe to be around my family. Though they later broke up, my father initially tried to justify her behavior. Because of that whole affair, I changed the rule. He'd have to wait at least a year instead of 6 months before introducing his new girlfriends. If he tried to do so before that, she'd never be allowed to come to my place. He protested at first because most of his relationships don't last that long, but I held my ground and he eventually agreed. He was with another woman for 9 months last year, and my children never met her. My father has been with his newest girlfriend for 6 months. I never really met her because she lives an hour away. She is apparently kid-obsessed and has been asking him to meet his grandkids for a while. He's tried to convince me to make an exception for her for a few months now, but I always say no and remind him of my rules. My daughter is turning 4 this week, and we threw her a birthday party yesterday. It took place at an event space our building has. My father showed up an hour late with his new girlfriend. I approached them to ask what he was doing. He said that his girlfriend was excited to meet my kids, and he thought the birthday party would be a good place to introduce them because they had been together for half a year. He didn't think it would be such a big deal. I told them the girlfriend had to leave before my kids saw her. My dad tried to give other excuses, such as the fact that my stepdad, who's been with my mom for more than 20 years, was there, and said that if she left, then so would he. I told him to be my guest, and they both left. Earlier today, my father called me. He told me off for kicking them out of the party. He said my rules were too restrictive, and his girlfriend was a lovely person who deserved to meet my kids. I told him that not only do I not care how nice she is, but I'll also never welcome her into my home after the stunt that he pulled. She can meet my kids after the 12-month mark, but not at my place. We fought for a while before he hung up on me. My husband and my sister, who's staying with us for a few days, witnessed most of the fight. My husband is on my side, but my sister thinks that I'm being needlessly cruel to a woman that I've never met. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I couldn't say what the woman my father dated in 2022 did that made me change the rule on Am I the a-hole, so I'll add an explanation here. On our first meeting with her, the girlfriend slapped my then 2-year-old daughter because she spilled a cup of juice in her lap, staining her white dress. We were across the room and weren't able to stop her until it was too late. When we confronted her, the excuse was that the dress was new and expensive. She refused to apologize. My daughter doesn't remember it, but my son witnessed the whole thing. My father only defended her when we kicked her out. He broke up with her the next day and apologized profusely. It took us a few months and a lot of talking things through to let him near our kids after that. It just boils down to the fact that those are your kids and you've got to do what you feel is right for them and for yourself. Now for the comments before reading the update. This person says, your kids, your call, not the a-hole. I'm curious though, did the girlfriend know your rule or did your dad put her into the situation unaware? I think she knew. My father started asking me to let him introduce her to them 4 months into the relationship. Either he told her or he came up with excuses for 2 months. Your dad is an a-hole. If the girlfriend knew, she is too. Frankly though, he sounds like the kind of guy who wouldn't hesitate to lie to a woman and then drag her into a bad situation she didn't understand. If the girlfriend didn't know, I feel bad for her. You don't own that, your dad does. Now for the update. Hey everyone, I posted on Am I the A-hole about a week ago. It got deleted, but I reposted it on my page. I've mostly solved the situation since then. There are some things that I think that I need to clarify about my relationship with my father first, so this might get long. I can't be the first to say this, but Reddit is by no means a place to accurately describe any type of relationship in full detail, especially a familial one. So those who said that I don't like my father or don't approve of his lifestyle are jumping to conclusions. I love my father very much, and I'm grateful for everything that he's done for me, but yeah, he's an asshole. We've had a rough relationship since I was a kid. It got much better after I moved out, mostly because we both realized we wouldn't have any relationship whatsoever if we didn't make efforts to change. As much as my father has become a better person, he still has some extremely narcissistic tendencies that make themselves obvious every now and then. The one that's the most relevant in this situation is the fact that he is terrible with boundaries. I came up with a metaphor in the comments on my previous post that I think illustrates this. He wants a door, I give him a window instead. He says he's fine with the window. Next thing I know, he's throwing rocks at the window until it's big enough to be a door. Not the best metaphor that I've ever written, but I think it applies. And I want to add that one of the main reasons our relationship was so rocky when I was younger was because I had no means of restoring the window. Now that we don't live together and I pay my own bills, it's gotten easier to either stop him from throwing the rocks or not giving him windows in the first place. On that note, my father is a pretty hands-on grandfather. We only see him once a month, but he FaceTimes with me frequently, and the kids love him. So introducing new girlfriend as grandpa's friend, as many suggested, wouldn't work. We tried it once, and they blew their cover in less than an hour. Also, it's not that I don't approve of my father's lifestyle. I simply don't care. I'm 33 years old. I have a job, a husband, and 2 children. My father's dating habits are neither my business nor my concern. He can date anyone he wants, for as long as he wants, as long as everyone is over 18 and not a complete monster. What I do care about is how this affects my children. I've been dealing with my father's revolving door since I was 10. Back then, his relationships tended to last at least 2 years, but it still took a toll on me and my younger sister. The first woman my father dated after the divorce was insane and ruined my childhood. The next one was amazing, but didn't stick around for long. The following one was unpleasant, and the list goes on. I don't want my children going through this lack of stability. I'm carrying that baggage. They don't need to know how heavy it is. The last thing that I want to add here is that my father has another major problem. He is obsessed with both pleasing everyone and the idea that I have to please everyone. That almost ruined our relationship completely when I was younger, and sadly, he hasn't really let go of that yet. The former is why he defended his 2022 girlfriend. I explained what happened on the repost I made, and the latter is the reason he was so pissed at me for banning his new girlfriend after the party fiasco. Okay, on to the actual update. My father and I had a minor fight over the phone about what happened at the party on Monday. 2 days later, his new girlfriend called me. She asked me why I'd banned her from my home before even meeting her or introducing my children. I told them to leave before the kids saw them. I asked her if she knew about my 12-month rule. Not only did she know, but she also insisted that my father break the rule anyway. She said that she was great with kids and knew my children would love her, so she thought it wouldn't be a big deal for me to make an exception for her. I came close to hanging up on her when she said that. The whole reason I even came to Reddit was because I thought I was being unfair to her, but this made it clear to me that she was also in the wrong. Instead, I decided to explain the 2022 incident. She didn't know about it. When I was done, she said that she understood why the rule was created and apologized for trying to break it. I called my father the next day. I told him about the chat that I'd had with his girlfriend, and he confirmed everything. He took her to the party because she wanted to go and he wanted to make her happy. We had a very long discussion that almost escalated into a fight. I reminded him of the reasons my rule existed. The only one that he truly deemed valid was the 2022 incident, which he's still ashamed of. The discussion touched many other topics, but the main one was that my children are the priority. I told my father that my main concern is protecting them, and I won't hesitate to cut anyone off, including family, if it means doing so. In the end, he agreed to deal with the consequences. His new girlfriend will be allowed to meet my kids at the 12-month mark, but she won't be welcome at my place. But if he tries to pull this stunt again, they'll both be cut off. We ended the call on a cold note, but he called me again on Friday. He apologized for everything and said I was a great mother. I can tell when he's being sincere at this point, so I accepted the apology. Knowing my family, I don't think there will be any problems with this for a while. And if there are, I've got it covered. I think this will be my last post. Thank you all for the support and encouragement that you've given me. Story 2. Update. My girlfriend smells. 24 female and 24 female. Original post. My girlfriend 24 female and I 24 female made it official and started telling family and friends we were dating. The first time we cuddled, she smelled like dog poop. I didn't want to put my nose near her, and that's the only thing that I could think about being close to her. I pushed it aside. We made plans on the fly that night, and I didn't think too much of it. She probably didn't get the chance to shower before coming over and forgot to brush her teeth. I regretfully overlooked it completely. Today we watched a movie and cuddled. The smell wasn't intense, but it still was bad. It didn't smell like dog poop this time, but as if she wore a dirty beanie for 3 days straight and didn't wash her hair afterwards. I was so disappointed because I was planning to kiss her tonight and make a move, but couldn't pull myself because of the unclean smell. What do I say to her? Go take a shower. I really like her, and I couldn't break up with her because we just made it official. She's kind, caring, understanding, funny, and a joy to be around. I don't want to hurt her feelings, and I definitely don't want to break up with her. I see a future together, but I need something to change. Any words of advice? Edit. A lot of people seem confused, so I'll clear it up a little bit. We've hung out a lot the last few weeks, 3 times a week, and I drive in my car everywhere we go. We've hugged a lot, and I never smelled her in any of those moments until we were up close and personal. The only times I've ever smelled it were those 2 times, and I put my head on hers. A lot of you mentioned it could be her diet, her hair, her shower habits, her mental health getting the better of her, and being unhygienic, her pets, her shower, shampoo, body wash products, or new piercings. She was diagnosed with gastroenteritis and something else with her gut. So she has severe digestion issues that cause chronic pain and can't eat certain foods and has a hard time eating in general. This also leads to mental illnesses, but I don't think it's a lack of shower. I think it could be her hair and maybe not washing it as often, which makes sense because she has very, very short hair. She has 2 older dogs, but when I've been at her house a few times and nothing suspicious came up, she's not a dirty person and she takes care of herself. She has ear piercings that are healing, so maybe that too. So there's probably a lot of contributing factors: eating habits, living with pets, digestion issues, and maybe it's not washing her hair a lot or new healing ear piercings. It's a sensitive topic, and I'm taking her out later today and mention something. I'm going to say that I'm allergic to her hair shampoo and ask her to please change it. She's very kind and understanding, so yes, the conversation will be embarrassing and uncomfortable, but I will support her the best I can and be as understanding and accommodating as much as she has with me. Then I guess we'll see where it goes from there. Thank you for the positive comments. I know this isn't uncommon in partners, and after reading your advice, I know how to address it. Much appreciated. Update. I have to break up with her. Today was the worst she's ever smelled. I never smelled it until my nose was to her hair until today. I couldn't be in the car with her, and the movie sucked because it was all I could smell and think about. I didn't even take the time to say goodbye, just got out of the car, gave her a respectful hug, and left immediately. She looked depressed and disappointed pulling out of the driveway. I can't look at her the same. Y'all, this is so bad, and I feel so bad for her. I have secondhand embarrassment for her. I wish things could have worked out. I really liked her. Gonna break up with her tonight. I know it's an asshole move, but I don't think that I can tell her in real person. I'm just gonna have to blame it on the stress that I'm going through because life is shit, RN, even without my girlfriend in the picture. Ugh, I wish I could put myself in this situation. It's funny hindsight, but geez, I'm over it. Gonna laugh and cry on the down low with my friends over the next few days. Update. To sum up my last post, I said my girlfriend stunk of poop, and I looked past it the first couple of times, but I broke up with her after the 3rd. I didn't notice her smell the many times we hung out, sat in my car, or the hugs that we had. I smelled poop from her when my head was on hers and my nose was close to her hair. I was really immature and broke up with her an hour after I dropped her off from our movie date, probably 10 minutes after I posted my last update. I felt and still feel so guilty not telling her. I saw my therapist yesterday, and after sobbing to her about my ex-girlfriend and my life status right now, 25 days from being homeless and the other effed up things that we talk about weekly, she helped me realize that I need to open up a conversation with my ex. I wrote out a few letters and put one in her mailbox last night. I explained in detail what she smelled like, where I smelled it, and what times I smelled her, so she now knows. I also told her that I missed her and that I didn't think my actions through. I told her why I broke things off and my thought process through it. I don't want to attribute mental health to this. Having PTSD or any disorder is not an excuse to be an a-hole, but the expectation of sex, kissing, or even holding hands puts my body into survival mode. I'm not going to write out everything that's wrong with me here, but I broke up with her because of the smell. It was the last straw that broke the camel's back. I wrote her a letter and put it in her mailbox last night. First thing this morning, she messaged me and said that we needed to talk. We talked it out, and she said that she's going to find a way to get rid of the smell. She forgave me, and we're going to be friends in the meantime while I work through my PTSD. Story 3. My 32 female, mother 65 female, laughed at my wedding dress on the day of my wedding and refuses to say sorry. Should I confront her, and if so, what do I say? 2 weekends ago, I, 32 female, got married to my long-term boyfriend, 32 male. Let me provide some context by talking about my mom for a second. She, 65 female, and I have always had a somewhat strained relationship. She is rude and very hard to please, and my older brothers and I always felt she disapproved of the things that we did. However, she raised the 5 of us alone working 2 jobs, and we all love her for the sacrifices that she made for us and try to look after her now that we all have our own careers. There are genuinely good times with her too, so I suppose you might say it's a complex relationship we all have. Anyway, I announced my engagement last year, and while she initially seemed pleased, she gradually pulled away from me and seemed like I was inconveniencing her by asking for more involvement. For example, I asked if she'd be there while I tried wedding dresses because it meant a lot to me, and she told me that she didn't feel like it. Even when I texted her asking if she wanted to see a photo of the place that we'd chosen as a venue, she said that she'd see it when she attended and didn't need the picture. I'd been planning on asking if she would walk me down the aisle, but decided not to ask her since she seemed so uninterested by every other aspect of the wedding. I actually asked all 4 of my brothers if they'd do it instead, and they were honored and accepted. The day of the wedding rolled around, and my bridesmaids and I were getting ready before heading to the venue. I had just put on my wedding dress and felt very emotional looking at myself in it. My bridesmaids were very complimentary of it, and it was a special moment between all of us. Just then, my mom arrived and actually started to laugh when she saw me. Everyone kind of went silent out of shock, and I asked her what was wrong. She just replied with, "What? It's the first time I'm seeing it," and walked off, leaving me feeling crushed that she'd laugh at me. My bridesmaids built me back up, and I brushed it aside, and I ended up having a lovely wedding. My brothers walked me down the aisle, as I'd wanted, and it was so special getting married to my best friend. However, things got worse again as we were taking wedding photos. My mom and I were asked to take a photo together, and while the photographer set up, she made some comments about not asking her to walk me down the aisle. It confused me since she had been so disinterested with everything, and I was going to tell her that before she suddenly looked me up and down and laughed again, whispering, "Really, that dress?" Just then, we had our photo taken, and upon reviewing the photos after the fact, I looked like I was about to burst into tears. Perhaps I should have confronted her then and there, but I just wanted to salvage as much happiness as I could for my wedding day. A day or so later, however, I told my husband and brothers. They were all shocked and sided with me, asking my mom why she'd said what she said. My mom apparently said that she hadn't liked my dress and thought I was overreacting. She refused to say sorry, and since then we haven't spoke, but she's bad-mouthing me. On Monday, we're going to our honeymoon, and I'm wondering if I should confront my mom about this before then, or if there isn't any point and I should move past it. Even if I do say something, what could it be that would get through to her that I'm hurt? Probably nothing at this point. Sorry that you're going through what you're going through. Now for the comments. You don't get to choose your parents. Your mom seems to want to dominate you, keep you on the defensive. This is emotional abuse. In a romantic relationship, if a woman had a boyfriend who kept saying what she did wasn't good enough, that she should try harder and so on, it could get the woman to be willing to do anything in order to get praise. This is abuse. The criticism is constant in order to force the woman into that state. Your mom sounds like she's doing the same thing. While you want to have a relationship with her, it sounds like she only wants to show you who the boss is, and it isn't you or your husband. Your mom wants to hurt you. Don't give her chances to try. Your mom is mean. Maybe she thinks of herself as brutally honest, but laughing at her wedding dress is just mean. Unfortunately, there is nothing you can say to make her change her mind. She should apologize, but it's doubtful that she will. Go enjoy your honeymoon and try not to give your mother another thought. OP says she definitely likes to say that she speaks her mind, but it's almost always a cover for blatant rudeness. It makes me sad because I love her, but to do this on my wedding day is something I don't know if I can just overlook because she's my mom. Thanks for the comment, and I'm sure I will enjoy my honeymoon. We saved up to go to the Maldives, and I think it'll be the respite that I need. That's all for today. If you're enjoying this story, please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you.